It's sometime in the 2nd century AD, and you're a bronze caster working in a small workshop somewhere in the Roman provinces, maybe in Gaul, maybe along the Rhine frontier, one of dozens of places just like yours scattered across the empire. A customer has come to you with a commission, and it isn't a statue, it isn't a coin mold, it isn't any of the usual work that pays your bills. It's a small object, roughly the size of your fist, and the design has been carefully explained to you, though even as you begin shaping the wax model, you're not entirely sure what it's for. 12 flat faces, each one a pentagon, 5 straight sides meeting at sharp points. The faces fit together into a shape mathematicians centuries from now will call a dodecahedron, though you don't have that word, or really any need for it. What you do know is that each pentagon face has a circular hole cut through its center, and every one of those 12 holes is a different size, ranging from small enough to barely fit a finger, to wide enough to slide a thumb through comfortably. At each of the 20 points where the pentagon corners meet, a small knobbed sphere sits, like a tiny bead of bronze, giving the whole object a strange, almost decorative, almost mechanical look, all at once. You cast it in bronze, using the lost wax method you learned as an apprentice, carefully working out how to core the piece so the holes stay hollow and the knobs form cleanly. It takes real skill. This isn't a crude object. Whoever wants this is willing to pay for precision, for a piece where all 12 faces are proportioned correctly and every knob sits exactly where it should. When it's finished, you hand it over, and you genuinely don't know what happens to it next. That's the strange part of your job, sometimes. You know how to make things. You don't always know what they're for. This scene repeats itself with small variations in bronze workshops all across the northwestern edge of the Roman Empire for roughly 300 years, from somewhere around the 2nd century AD through the 4th. Not in Italy, not in Rome itself, or Greece, or Egypt, or anywhere in the Roman world's more heavily documented eastern provinces, almost exclusively in the western and northwestern territories, Britain, Gaul, Germania, the Low Countries, places where the empire's presence was real, but its written records, especially records of everyday craftsmanship and daily life, are far thinner than they are elsewhere. And here's the detail that 2,000 years later will drive historians and archaeologists a little bit crazy. Not one single ancient text mentions these objects. Not one. No Roman writer describes what they're called, what they're used for, who owns them, or why someone would want one. Compare that to almost anything else from the Roman world. Their coins are documented. Their weapons are documented. Their surgical tools, their children's toys, their religious objects, all of it shows up somewhere in the historical record, in a letter, an inventory, a joke in a play, a complaint in a legal document. These objects show up nowhere. Whatever they were for, either everyone at the time understood it so completely that nobody thought it needed explaining, the way nobody today writes an essay explaining what a fork is for, or the purpose was specialized enough or private enough that it simply never made it into anything that survived. Over 100 of these objects have been found so far, pulled out of the ground across the old Roman frontier, mostly by archaeologists, but also, notably, by metal detectorists, amateur hobbyists walking fields with detection equipment who occasionally turn up an object that ends up making international news. They vary in size, from around 4 centimeters across to over 11, and they vary in the sizes of their holes, in the exact arrangement of their knobs, in the quality of their casting. Some are crude, some are remarkably fine work. None of them show obvious signs of wear that would tell you clearly how they were held, gripped, or used, the kind of smoothing or polish you'd expect on, say, a well-used tool handle. That absence of wear is part of what makes this such a stubborn puzzle. If people carried these around and handled them constantly, the way you'd handle a tool or a game piece, you'd expect to see it. Some do show minor wear, many don't, or the wear is ambiguous enough that experts disagree on what it means. So people have guessed. For a long time, one of the most popular theories was that these were surveying instruments, used somehow to measure distances or angles, maybe by sighting through the different sized holes, to judge distance based on which hole an object appeared to fit within. It's a clever idea, and dodecahedra have occasionally been found near what look like measuring rods, or in contexts associated with land surveying. But it's never been demonstrated convincingly that the math actually works out in a practical, repeatable way, and the objects vary so much in size and hole diameter from one to the next that it's hard to imagine them functioning as a standardized measuring system across the empire. Others have proposed they were candlestick holders, wax slipped into one of the openings, a wick threaded through, the knobbed feet holding it steady on a table. It's plausible on its face, though no example has ever been found with wax residue or fire-related staining that would confirm it, and the design seems needlessly elaborate for something that basic. Still, others have suggested a religious or ritual purpose, possibly tied to Gallo-Roman or Celtic religious practice specific to the regions where these are found, which might explain why they don't appear in Roman texts at all. If their meaning came from local traditions that operated outside the world of Latin literature and Roman record-keeping altogether. Some have proposed they were dice, or gaming pieces, or knitting tools for making gloves, an idea popularized more recently online, with modern knitters demonstrating the object can, in fact, be used to knit a tube shape like a glove finger. It's a genuinely interesting demonstration. It's also almost certainly not why the Romans made them, since knitting as a technique doesn't appear to have existed yet in Roman Europe. The timeline doesn't line up. None of these explanations manages to account for every single detail, the wide range of sizes, the total silence in the written record, the specific and consistent geography, the mix of crude and finely made examples, the ambiguous wear patterns. Every theory answers some of the evidence and leaves a piece of it dangling. What's genuinely remarkable when you step back from it is how ordinary the mystery is. This isn't the Antikythera mechanism, a device so far ahead of its time that its existence rewrote what we understood about ancient engineering. The Roman dodecahedron isn't sophisticated in a way that shocks anyone. It's a small cast bronze object anyone with basic metalworking skill could produce. And yet, after more than a century of serious archaeological attention and well over 100 examples pulled from the ground across multiple countries, nobody has definitively cracked it. Not because the object is too complex to understand, because the people who made it and used it all across the northwestern edge of an empire that otherwise documented an enormous amount of its own daily life simply never left behind the one sentence that would have told us why. Somewhere in a bronze workshop 2,000 years ago, you handed a finished dodecahedron to a customer who knew exactly what they wanted it for. And whatever they said, walking out the door with it in hand is the one piece of information that never made it into the historical record at all.